What does color sound like? And that is what it would sound like if we started ripping off all the labels the world has placed on us. Well, maybe not all the labels. That might take a while. And it's time for another unbuckled bumpy ride with your guide, the stark raving LEAN-atic himself. I'm Jim. Let's jump right in again. Welcome to my podcast based on my brand new book, available on Amazon, Live Life Lean, L-E-A-N. It's a year-long guide to gratitude and our daily grind. The book that combines some timeless wisdom from a whole lot of the world's wiser people with the reflections, reactions, and wisecracks of the guide's author, me. And it guides you, the reader, through the simplest system for a happy, healthy, authentic, and genuinely grateful everyday experience. I urge you to get the book. Of course I do. I wrote it. It's either at Amazon or at my website, ampurage.com. A-M-M-P-U-R-A-G-E. But even without it, let's make next week better than last, our next year better than the past, and get started now with today's episode of Peel Off the Labels and Pick Up the Logic. Gucci, 501. Nike, Calvin Klein. We put so many labels on ourselves that honestly, who are we to protest when others put labels on us? I mean, really, what's the harm? Ain't it kind of like sticks and stones may break my bones, but labels never hurt me? Or is it that with labels, they never heard me? See, labels act as filters for our brains by immediately shading statements and enhancing or minimizing messages based on the messenger. They've said, don't kill the messenger because of the message. Don't shoot the messenger because of the message. But don't they also say, don't we completely ignore the message itself just because of the messenger? Or maybe what you feel about the messenger and therefore the message? See, this can be referred to as the genetic fallacy. It's also known as the fallacy of origins or the fallacy of virtue. It's a fallacy of irrelevance. It's based solely on someone or something's history, or their origin, or the source, rather than its current meaning, its accuracy, or the actual context. It amazes me when discussions become debates, and debates become disagreeable disagreements, and when disagreements devolve and downward spiral into disrespecting a dude or a dudette, and pretty damn soon the details no longer matter, because the deafening begins. And the details of the message wind up DOA, dead on arrival, because of who delivered them. See, their messenger wore a label, either placed by the world or self-imposed. And so we have already concluded that their conclusion is a clunker. We do this with gender and age, with politics and appearance, with status, and with accents and tongue. And it's ignorant, damn it. There. Now, if you want to discuss debate, you want to get down to business, argue like you're colorblind. No red versus blue, no black versus white, just instead, it's based on behavior versus behavior. Be a behavior debater and not a color cage creator and hater. See, humans, we say that we hate cages and we hate being or feeling caged. And still, in some cagey way, we can find things into boxes and label them, like exhibits inside our own little brain zoo. And because what we're being asked to consider comes out of a specific box, well, it needs a label so that we can do two things with it: understand and define it, and put it back neatly when we're done with it. The problem is, the accuracy of this method is limited to our individual ability to apply labels. And once labeled, we rarely peel off those labels to see if it really still largely universally fulfills and fills the label that we put on it. How often after we've, say, labeled and sealed a box of Christmas decorations, do we reopen it to see if that's accurate? Well, that may work with boxes that we label and seal, but what about boxes that others have sealed shut and labeled? Do we assume their definition of what it says on the outside is what it's made up of on the inside? Well, we do that with people labels too much of the time. Anyone out there remember the Dymo gun? D-Y-M-O. The Dymo label maker gun. It kind of looked like a Starship phaser, but it ratcheted out plastic sticky labels that we use to categorize and colorize our things. Well, some of us never let go of that practice, but now we categorize and colorize the whole damn world and everyone in it. Like, Republicans are racists, Democrats are libtards, Asians are brilliant, whites are privileged, blacks are guilty, and Latinos are gardeners. Oh, crap. Come on, y'all. Hey, Dymo, when you're doing this, you're being a dumbo. Peel off the labels, unseal the package to see what's inside. Lesson of the day. Listen like you're dying to hear by dissecting what you're trying to hear. I'll say that again. Listen like you're dying to hear by dissecting what you're trying to hear. I love the examples when folks think that they know all they need to know about something based on the person who said that specific something. Example. So, college students who were told that recent Republican President Trump said these specific quoted statements, and when asked to describe him for having said them, they labeled the president as divisive, dehumanizing, jingoistic with racial biases, rude, and generally discriminatory. One said, "I just really think it's hateful speech in general." What were the quotes that they judged the former president for? Well, they were examples like this, quote unquote, "Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress in this nation." And another quote, "We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, and unchecked." And another, quote unquote, "Committed to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in. I do think you have to control your borders." Now, remember that the students were told that Trump said these, but then the reality came out, and their mouths were dropped, and hopefully, some labels were dropped as well. See, the names attached to each of these quotes is, or was, in order, Harry Schumer, Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton. Now, I guarantee, I know, there are those on the other side of a political fence who do the exact same thing. They do the same. They'd be libelous with their labels. Maybe I have. Maybe we all have. But thank God we don't always do this. So it is a choice. So long as we choose to slow down and get the lowdown before we temper tantrum and throw down. I'm really glad that my wife doesn't discount something that we both value based on the value that others labeled long ago. What am I referring to? I once read about a woman who winced when her engaged best friend joyously displayed her engagement ring. But the friend said, as she winced, "You're not going to wear a wedding ring, are you? Don't you know the wedding ring originally symbolized ankle chains worn by women to prevent them from running away from their husbands? I would not have thought that you would be a party to such a sexist practice." You see, I know my wife. Like I do, she views our wedding bands as a bond, not bondage. But I gotta tell you, we do both like the labels that go along with them, Mr. and Mrs. It's that marriage thing, Mr. and Mrs. Well, it's an abbreviation. The MR in Mr. means Mr. Right. And the MRS in Mrs. means Mr. Right's sweetie. Oh, and that Dymo, D-Y-M-O thing, I'm pretty sure that once it stood or was meant to stand for do it yourself, making orderly. But wound up in the wrong hands. And it wound up meaning, damn, you mislabel obnoxiously. Just saying. And now, More words of wisdom to wow your socks off from the Live Life Lean Guide itself. Entry number 345. There are 3 classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. Plato. And the guide's point of view on this? I remember another guy who said that there were 3 types of men: a ladies' man, a man's man, and God's kind of man. So what do you think about this? Using the Live Life Lean system, what have you learned lately that's new? What have you earned that wasn't simply handed to you? Where have you added to the world that wasn't all about you? And now be grateful, reflect, and respect, and navigate somewhere next. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying your copy of the Live Life Lean, LEAN guide, enjoying it almost as much as I did creating it. And if you don't have a copy yet, go on over to ampurage.com or Amazon and get started today experiencing the amazing power of knowing every day is literally yours to be grateful about, and you need never feel unfulfilled again. I'm Jim Hall, and until next time, good health, God bless, and now go get a little dirty learning something new, earning what's not given to you, adding to this crazy world that we share, and navigating your way to something new and next.